Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Wilderness Fitness Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Dr. Rob Minturn. It is a pleasure to be back with you guys. It's been at least 2 weeks, I think it was. I missed last week because of the mud and the pups. I think it was like 9:15 by the time we got settled in after showers and all that stuff. So I apologize for missing last week, but I'm going to bring you last week's podcast topic, and we're going to be talking about total body splits versus body part splits. We'll be talking about what they are, the pros and cons to each, and kind of a way to help you guys structure your own workouts. Before we get into that, we're going to talk about the Spicy Saturday workout. Again, I did not post this last week. I've been busy with the website and getting that all squared away. Super pumped for that, by the way. It actually looks like a decent website compared to the mom and pop type of website that I put together many years ago. So I'm really excited to get that launched. But with the Spicy Saturday workout, it's fairly simple. You've got traditional deadlifts and you've got box jumps. So it's going to be structured like a 15-12-9. So you're going to get through that as fast as you can. And then with the box or with the deadlifts, you're doing a 275 for the guys and 185 for the ladies, and then you're going to be doing a 24-inch box for the guys and a 20-inch box for the ladies for the RX. For the scaled movements, you're going to be doing the deadlifts, but instead of the box jumps, you're going to be doing step ups. The box height will remain the same, and then the weight for the deadlifts is going to drop down to 225 for the men and 155 for the ladies. So you guys get after it, enjoy that workout, and it shouldn't be too bad. All right, so body part splits and total body splits. What are they, and what are the pros and cons to both of those? So what they are, so it's a way to really structure your workout. When you talk about splitting up your exercise or splitting up your workouts, there's multiple different ways to do so, but the two main ones that I typically see and that I typically do are going to be body part splits and total body. Total body is really you're hitting multiple muscle groups in the same workout. Body part splits is you're hitting one, maybe two different muscle groups in the same workout. Typically, if you're hitting two muscle groups, it's going to be like chest and triceps. So that's going to be your pushing day. And then you're going to have a pulling day where you're doing back and biceps. The biceps help the back. The triceps help the chest as far as pushing the weight against you or away from you. And then you're going to have your leg day, right? So those are the typical body part splits. Total body splits take a little more, I think, creativity in your training because you're going to be doing more multi-joint workout or multi-joint movements. So you've got to be a little more creative with the muscle groups that you're hitting in each workout so that way you're still getting the right ratios with the back exercises to the chest exercises. You're getting the right glute hamstring exercises to the right quad dominant exercises for the legs. And I just think it takes more creativity to do the total body workouts. So with that, let's talk about some pros. So with the total body workout, you're working the body as a whole. So in general, like when you squat down to the ground and pick something up, you're squatting or deadlifting down, right? And then if you go to raise it up over your head and put it away in the shelf above you, that's going to be a pressing motion. When you do body part splits, you're not necessarily doing that, right? You're not working the body as one giant machine. It's going to be more of an isolated movement, so you're not necessarily, they say it's not functional, right? Being strong is going to help you in a lot of these ways, but it's not training movement patterns. Like body part splits just don't train movement patterns. So that's what I mean by working the body as a whole, is that you are training specific movement patterns that are going to relate very functionally to your daily life as well as in the woods. Picking up a dead deer and lifting it into the back of the truck, that's a power clean, right? You're hoisting it up from the ground up to the height of the bed of the truck and tossing it in the bed of the truck. Same thing with your pack if you got a heavy pack. With another pro of the body part or the total body splits, you need to go to the gym fewer times. So if you're solely using the gym for your resistance training, which is what I do, you don't need to go to the gym any more than 3 times a week to lift weights. A muscle group needs to be hit at least twice and at most 3 times a week in order to facilitate progression. If you're someone like in the off season or during the season, if you're a weekend warrior and you're getting after it every weekend, like if you live someplace in the mountains or if you're a whitetail hunter back in the Midwest and you get after it on the weekends and you're used to working out on the weekends, if you hit a muscle group once a week, you're going to maintain most of the progress that you made in the preseason, so you don't necessarily need to train a ton during the season and in the off season to maintain that progress. So doing total body splits, again, allows you to train these muscle groups once a week to where you're going to maintain that progress that you worked so hard for in that preseason. I touched on this a second ago, but typically with the total body splits, you're going to incorporate more multi-joint movements. Multi-joint movements, again, are going to translate over to functional movements better and functional movement patterns better, simply because you're incorporating like a weight from the floor all the way up to your shoulder, then possibly overhead, all in one movement. So with these multi-joint movements, you're getting multiple muscle groups involved. You're making the body work, again, as a giant machine in a giant system versus isolating different body parts and not forcing it to adapt in a functional movement pattern capacity. And then the last pro, I mean, there's multiple more, but the last big one that I want to talk about is it allows emphasis on cardio. So with the total body splits, you are getting the gym and lifting weights 2, maybe 3 times a week to prepare for the mountains. In the other times, it's giving you more times to get the cardiovascular system trained, so that way you're more adapted for the elevation and for the mountains. If you're spending time doing the body part splits, you're going to have to go, like I said earlier, you have to train a muscle group 2 to 3 times, or at least twice a week to facilitate progress. That means you're going to the gym at least 4 days a week, if not 5, possibly 6, depending on how long you spend and how much you want to train. So when you're spending all that time lifting weights, there's not really going to be a big emphasis on the cardio, which is the biggest thing to reduce your chance of altitude sickness and reduce your chance of having a shitty hunt. If you're up at elevation, if your cardiovascular system is adapted, it's going to make the transition from lower elevation to higher elevation a lot easier on your body. So let's move into some pros about the body part splits, because there are some. So targeting specific body parts, it's going to allow you to target specific problem areas. Not that you can't do that with total body movement or total body splits, but with the body part splits, you can really hammer on your back if your back is something that's very weak, right? You can bias the back, maybe do have a pulling day or a back day, and then on your chest day, you still do maybe 1 or 2 movements for your back, or on your leg day, you do 1 or 2 movements for your back, so that way you hit the back a couple extra times during the week. You don't want to do it too much. Again, 3 times a week is all you really want to do as far as targeting a specific muscle group, but with the body part splits, you can be a little more specific on and how much volume you're getting with each body part. Typically, with body part splits as well, you're going to you're going to see a quicker change in your body composition. You're going to start to look better and feel stronger simply due to the sheer volume of the movements and of the exercise selection, because you're isolating. Instead of doing maybe 1 or 2 pushing motions in a workout, you're going to be doing anywhere from like probably 4 to 6 or 7 pushing motions in a workout. So it's super easy to really increase the muscle fiber size and the muscle fiber size, and improve the body composition with the body part splits, I think. And then you also feel a pump. People want to chase the pump. I actually was thinking about doing a podcast on chasing the pump, because I've talked about that with a few patients that do the body part splits. That pump feeling when you're doing those body part splits it feels good. It feels like you're kicking your own butt. It feels like you're getting a decent workout in. But it's something that you don't always have to do, and you don't necessarily always want to chase that pump every time that you go into workout. You can get a solid workout, you can get a very effective workout without ever feeling that pump feeling. So be mindful of that. So some cons with the total body part splits: you're going to need longer time to look sexy in general due to the overall lower volume of isolating each body part. So I just touched on that with the body part splits. With the total body splits, where you're working every muscle group in each workout, because of that, you're not going to be able to, unless you have all kinds of time, you're not going to be able to do as much volume with each of those body parts due to the fact that you're trying to hit every single body part in one workout. So keep that in mind. Some cons about the body part splits. Hopefully you guys aren't getting too confused with this terminology. But some cons with the body part splits when you're isolating muscle groups in each individual workout. So you have a back day, a push, or a back day, a chest day, a leg day. You need to go to the gym more often simply because you have to hit a muscle group at least twice a week in order to facilitate progress, or significant progress. And then it's going to take time away from cardio. Like I said, if you're going to the gym twice a week, you've got 5 other days during the week that you can really isolate your cardio and improve your cardiovascular fitness. Whereas if you're doing those body part splits, you're going to the gym at least 4 or 5 days a week. So it's taking that time away from the cardio that you should be doing to get ready for the mountain. You can actually build excessive muscle mass with the body part splits. Not that you can't do it again with the total body splits, but with the body part splits, because you're isolating muscle groups in each workout, and that body composition change can happen a little bit quicker, you can develop more muscle mass than what is truly needed, especially like in your upper body. You need to be strong in your chest, you need to be strong in your back, you need to have strong arms, but you don't need to have massive bulging biceps, because biceps don't get your ass up the mountain. Triceps, having the horseshoe in your tricep, does not get your happy ass up that mountain any faster. So be mindful of that when you're doing arm day on a Saturday morning. When you're supposed to be doing legs and you decide to do arms because you want to chase that pump, be mindful of that those triceps and those biceps don't get you up the mountain any quicker. And then a con to the body part splits is chasing that pump. A lot of folks get hooked on chasing that pump feeling just because it feels like they're kicking their own butt. But again, it's not necessary, and it's not always good to chase that pump. You don't need to wipe the muscle out completely in order to facilitate progress and facilitate change. So if you guys have any questions on that, drop them in the comments. You guys have a fabulous weekend, and we will catch you next week. Peace.